Hello, my friends. Good morning, everybody. I hope you're doing very well. Welcome to the Impact Money Show, where we dissect the interplay of global events, economic trends, and your financial future. Today's show is packed with developments that could redefine the economic, political, and technological landscape. There's a lot going on, guys. It's a lot. There's a lot going on. So let's dive in. First on the agenda, the political maelstrom surrounding Donald Trump's impending inauguration on January 20th. This week has seen a flurry of legal and political activity. Trump's sentencing in the New York hush money case, scheduled for today, has been confirmed to proceed despite efforts to postpone it, with the Supreme Court's recent denial of his appeal. While public and legal analysts speculate that jail time is unlikely, this case underscores the unprecedented legal scrutiny faced by a former and sitting president. Trump has also promised to issue pardons for individuals convicted in relation to the January 6th Capitol mostly peaceful protest, whom we all refer to as hostages and patriots. This move has sparked a fierce debate with implications for how justice, forgiveness, and political loyalty are perceived in American society. It's a testament to Trump's enduring influence within his base and a potential harbinger of how legal accountability might be navigated in his administration. I talk about it all the time. You got mamas, you got dads sitting in there, you got grandmas sitting in there. It's time to get them out. It's time to get them out. But let's not overlook Trump's ambitious policy agenda. He's gearing up to sign around 100 executive orders on his first day in office, with a significant emphasis on immigration reform and border security. This includes plans for mass deportations, ending catch and release again, and possibly redefining U.S. immigration policy in ways that could lead to immediate and profound changes at the border and beyond. On the international front, Trump's provocative comments regarding Greenland, the Panama Canal, and even Canada have reignited discussions about American expansionism, or at least economic and military influence. While these proposals might seem more rhetorical than realistic, they've certainly put U.S. foreign policy ambitions back into the spotlight, questioning how far the U.S. might go to reassert its dominance or protect its interest. It really has been something else to watch, an experience, I think, for the whole world. They're like, oh, wow, okay, oh, all right. I mean, Canada being part of the U.S. would be pretty nice. I think probably should be like more like 4 or 5 states, not just one state. But Greenland, I don't know. I have never been to Greenland. Greenland is one of those places I've never been to. Apparently, our military base there is very important. Trump says you look out in the waters and you see Russian ships going by and Chinese ships going by, and it's really important for us to have this. Hello, Alex. Good to see you this morning. Good morning, Alex. In the crypto world, we're looking forward to the Maga Maha Crypto Leadership Conference on January 18th, where we'll explore the impact of Trump's policies on the digital currency sector. This event is pivotal as we try to understand how cryptocurrency might fit into or challenge the new administration's economic strategies. Following that, the Bitcoin inaugural ball on January 19th will celebrate the fusion of politics and crypto, highlighting the growing acceptance and integration of digital currencies into the mainstream finance. The economic landscape continues to be shaped by natural and man-made disasters. The wildfires in Los Angeles, now involving the National Guard, have not only caused human tragedy, but also economic upheaval. The controversy surrounding State Farm's decision to cancel insurance policies in wildlife-prone areas last summer has reignited the discussions on corporate ethics, insurance market dynamics, and sustainability of living in high-risk zones. Turning to technology, CES 2025, one of my favorite shows. It's one of my favorite shows. Showcased NVIDIA's latest RTX 50 series, aiming to redefine gaming and AI performance. But the tech sector is also grappling with new government regulations, particularly the Biden administration's plan for AI chip export controls, which have put tech companies like NVIDIA and AMD at odds with national security policies. Additionally, Microsoft's release of the PHI 4 AI model under open source license is a step towards a more collaborative and transparent AI development. Coming from a background of crypto and blockchain and open source stuff, I like to see that stuff. You know, when things are open source, anybody can dig in there. People would say, you know, hey, Bruce, how do you know? This is back in the early days. How do you know that Bitcoin, how do you know it can't be hacked? Well, you know, look, guys like myself and guys a lot smarter than me, or maybe a lot better at coding. You know, I'm fumbling through C++. This is way back in the day. But guys that do it a lot more than me have been digging through this code. I don't see how it can be hacked. They don't see how it can be hacked. And then you have a collaborative effort of making something that's really special. I'm a big supporter of it. And actually, it's interesting. Elon Musk, the great Elon Musk, I don't know if he patents stuff, like his designs and rocket designs and stuff like that. I don't know if he patents it or not, but I do think either way, whether it's patented or not, I don't think he patents it, but I believe it's open source. It's one or the other. Either he doesn't patent it, and I'll find out for you guys. Financial markets are reacting to a cocktail of economic data and policy signals. The ISM services PMI's rise to 54.1 has led to market sell-offs due to fears of persistent inflation affecting expectations for the U.S. banking cartel, the Federal Reserve's actions. With the Fed's next meeting on the horizon, investors are particularly attentive to the upcoming non-farm payroll report, which could further dictate market sentiment and monetary policy direction. Gold and silver's recent gains reflect ongoing investor concerns about inflation and devaluation of the dollar, with debates on whether these peaks signal a top in the current cycle or if they're just the beginning of a longer bull run, potentially fueled by fiscal policies under the new administration. Market indices like the Dow have shown resilience after 0.25% gains yesterday, although futures are indicating a upward trend but down at the moment, despite cautious investor sentiment and reflected in the fear and greed index. Sectors like technology and travel, with companies like Acuity Brands and Delta Airlines leading, are driving this optimism, though the market remains on tenterhooks for any economic data that could sway the banking cartel's stance on interest rates. Bitcoin jumped to 95,000 just recently here. Let me look where we're at here at the moment. A little bit under 94.9 at the moment. It did pop over 95 a few minutes ago. This is after dipping below 92,000 yesterday. And it has sparked discussion about whether we've hit the bottom or if there's one more dip to come before sustained recovery and all-time highs. This volatility is emblematic of the broader crypto market sensitivity to macroeconomic news and policy shifts. Geopolitically, the Middle East remains a powder keg, with ceasefire negotiations in Gaza, military escalations in Lebanon, and Iran's diplomatic maneuvers. These events not only affect regional stability, but have a significant impact for the global energy markets and security policies. Domestically, the influence of AIPAC in the U.S. election has come under renewed scrutiny, particularly its spending to influence outcomes, raising questions about foreign lobbying and its impact on U.S. policy, especially in light of the Israel-Palestine conflict. In robotics, we're witnessing a significant advancements with companies like Apptronik and Tesla pushing the boundaries of what robots can do, from industrial applications to potential everyday use, indicating a future where robotics could be as ubiquitous as smartphones are today. From these wide-ranging developments, it's clear that we're navigating through a period of time and change and of uncertainty. Here at the Impact Money Show, we'll keep you informed, providing you analysis and insight you need to make sense in these complex times. I have with me the great Matt Dixon with the Market Report here. Sir Matt, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, Bruce. Good morning. Interesting, actually. I'm just hearing everything you're talking about with Trump's policies coming in. Yes. I can understand that people are disheartened. I was just reading this morning through the social media. I won't read the whole post, but I just read this social media post. It's from about the UK. Some disheartened person in the UK. It said, "Rest in peace, United Kingdom. You are too soft. You raised the cost of living so high that both parents are always at work rather than spending time with their children. You took God out of schools. Parents were told, no, you can't discipline your kids. Well, United Kingdom, you shall reap what you sow. And we've lost a whole generation and turned them into rude, selfish, disrespectful brats that have no respect for people, property, authority, etc." So it goes on.
Wait, is this on, where is this post, on X?
This was on Facebook, actually, but it's just a post I saw somebody put out there. So, it's the same the world over. And this is why we're getting right-wing governments coming in, because people are so disheartened, so disenfranchised with the status quo, with the political system, the corruption that's there. As I say, the political correctness, all of that kind of thing. So I can absolutely understand why people are liking what Trump's saying, because he's looking potentially to bring forward change. Yep. But this is potentially what happens before that four-letter word hits the fan. So let's see. I think there's a lot of dangerous things being talked about as well that we need to be aware of. But anyway, that's just my little takeaway from this morning. So I'll go into the financial markets. We're at an interesting point, of course.
Sure.
I'll share screens because I've been at a potential crossroads, and hopefully I want to clarify where we're actually going with the market. So hopefully you can see my screen there with Bitcoin.
Yes.
Yeah, so I started with Bitcoin because a couple of potential outcomes from here. This was the all-time high of 108,000. I've got it labeled as the top of wave 3. Now, if that is the case, that's that big number, wave 3 in blue there. If that's the case, we'd expect a correction down for wave 4 and then push up in wave 5 to brand new all-time highs. Now, I do expect that. That is my base case scenario that's going to happen with Bitcoin. It's just a matter of, has the correction finished or not? That is the big question, because people want to be positioned the right side of the market. Excuse my little cough. It's very, very cold here in the UK. -5 last night. I mean, maybe that's not cold for you guys, but for me from Dubai, it's very cold. So anyway, from the wave 3 high there, we've had basically an ABC down. Now, why do I label it as ABC? Well, if you count the waves, the internal waves, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 waves down. Now, 7 is corrective. It tells me it's not an impulsive wave down. That's actually really encouraging for me, because it tells me that the impulsive direction is still to the upside, not to the downside, because that's a corrective move down. That's the most likely. And even this move up here overlapped this wave down here. I can't count it as 5 down. It's basically 7 waves, which is corrective. So I've labeled it as an ABC, making up a larger W wave down. Then we get a 335 wave up. That's actually an X wave higher. So that's made up of ABC higher. And now I believe we're going to be working on a Y wave, which itself, the Y wave will be made up of an A, a B, and a C. And I think we've completed the A wave. Now, the reason there's a bit of confusion with this correction from the top, it could just be a simple, some kind of ABC down, and it could be complete here, especially as this C wave, potential C wave, went below the bottom of this A wave. That's quite a satisfying result. It could potentially be over here. So I need to look for clues at other places to try to find out whether we've already finished the low here or whether we've got more to go, as I suspect we have. Now, I've looked at a few different indicators. The simplest one of all, this is probably the simplest indicator you'll find, is a moving average crossover. So we draw on a couple of moving averages on the chart here. And when they cross over, it tells you of a potential turn in price. So for example, we've got a positive crossover here where the short term crosses over the long term average, and then you get a long movement up in price. And then when price starts to move down, they cross back the other way, and that's a signal that price is going to go down. Now, we're nowhere near a cross at the moment for a potential turn higher. So that tells me that potentially, it's not a definite thing, this isn't a perfect indicator, it's the simplest of all, but potentially we have lower to go. And it does fit with my big WXY correction, where if this is A, we've got B high, we've got C down to go. So on that basis, potentially we've got lower to go. So let's try to look for clues across other markets. Now, one that was followed is the China market. This is Hang Seng, the Hong Kong index. And quite interesting, we followed it. It was we actually followed it from, it was around 21,000 when we started looking at it. And we actually gave it a negative outlook. And you can see that the market has actually gone down a lot since then. We're actually from we're somewhere between 20 and 21,000, I think, on the index. It's now 19,000. So it's substantially lower than it was. But again, let's just see where we're likely to go with this index. Well, first of all, just looking at the simplest indicators of all, first of all, I can see that there's a trend here, appears to be with lower lows and lower highs. So we've got this low is lower, and this low is lower again. And I've just checked the levels here. The level here was 19,054. The level here, as of this morning, was 19,036. So we know that we actually went for a lower low here. So we do have lower lows here, here, and here, and lower highs here, here, a couple of lower highs at the moment. In fact, here, here, and here. So yeah, we've got low lows and lower highs. That's indicative that the downtrend is still in place and may still have further to go. And I would suspect that if this is an A wave down, 3 up, we could have 5 down, or it could be a WXY 333. But likely we still have lower to go, especially as we pierce that low there. We've pierced that low. So it's opened the way now for potentially lower prices ahead. So I do think that this Hang Seng index is telling me, and don't forget there's strong correlation across the indices and even between, I just showed you Bitcoin so far, which is the sort of the major crypto, by far the leading crypto. It's highly correlated now. It's a very respectable, becoming more traditional asset. So it is correlated with the stock indices to some extent. There isn't 100% correlation, but there's some correlation there. So the fact that we're looking for lower prices on the Hang Seng, I would say definitely we're looking at lower prices. That's actually quite bad economically. And don't forget, the US, although they have a massive internal economy, and that's one thing that has allowed them to stay strong and productive whilst the rest of the world is in the doldrums, they will still ultimately and eventually be affected by a downturn in the world economy. So China is definitely struggling economically. I think they're actually in deflation or thereabouts. So they're in a bit of a mess. And when the rest of the world's in a mess, yes, the US has a massive internal economy, but they still do trade a lot with the rest of the world. And so there will be an impact, a knockover, carryover effect there. So that just tells me that most likely Bitcoin does have lower to go. So we'll take a little look now. Well, actually, let's just take a look at the dollar index. So we did say, we've been saying for a long time, the pound had lower to go. We've hit 122 now, pound against the dollar. We can see it just keeps going lower and lower and lower. As I said, there's a lot of economic sort of discontent in the UK. We saw that in that social media message I just sent. It's not just about the social side of things. The economic side is, pretty much a basket case at the moment. They've raised taxes to try to cover some of the, some of the outgoings in the UK, I guess. They're having to raise taxes again because the economy is slower than they expected. But what do you expect? I mean, this is the good side of Trump policies. He's looking at reducing taxes, the tax burden, etc. In the UK, they're increasing taxes under the Labour government and thinking that they're going to be able to stimulate the economy because they'll increase taxes, they'll spend on government spending, but government spending is not efficient. as we know, governments are the best thing. The thing they're really good at is wasting money. They're not accountable to anybody. They don't have to make a profit. They just spend money for the sake of it. And that's what this government is doing. They're borrowing more to make more government spending, but this actually takes money out of entrepreneurs' pockets, takes money out of people's pockets so they can't spend. So it's a downward spiral, unfortunately. So this is why the UK pound is spiraling downwards. It's why UK interest rates are, again, they've got a big problem. A little bit like the US. The US also have a problem, but the UK at the moment is in a worse state than most people at the moment. So
there's a lot going on over there. And of course, Elon Musk is lining up Stammer.
That again, Elon Musk is not really very welcome, to be honest, about sticking his nose in. We shouldn't have sticking a nose into other people's politics. I mean, he was supporting Farage with the UK Independence Party or whatever they're called. He's very right wing, and then he turned against him. Well, I don't care whether he turns against him or for him or whatever, but they shouldn't really be interfering with politics internationally. That should be left to their own, I believe. And I don't think it's particularly welcome. I don't think you'd be particularly happy if we really started sticking our nose into your politics. But
yeah, anyway. I mean, it's Elon. That's a lot of stuff. Both Trump, Elon. I support these guys. There's a lot of stuff they do that I don't like, to be honest with you. Both of them.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I'm not here to.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's get back to finance. So looking at Solana, as you know, it's my favorite asset to trade. Yeah. So from the top, we had this, we've said it a number of times, a W wave down, we've got an X wave higher, which is made up of the A wave, B wave triangle, then the terminal thrust out of that triangle to give us the C wave of the X wave. Then from that, you expect another push down to give us basically the Y wave, which a Y wave is made up of an A, B, C. So we completed a really nice A wave. This was really textbook. It was lovely. So we had the wave 1 down, wave 2 up, then wave 3 was exactly 2.618 times the length of wave 1. And then we got a wave 4 higher. I think that wave 4 completed up here. And we gave all this in advance on this show and on X. We're posting these things before it happened in advance. And just interestingly, that simple indicator, the moving average crossover, it last crossed up here telling us to sell Solana. So it's pretty well on the button there.
And before that, you're targeting around, if this is going to continue, if this is the bounce and then it'll continue down and not the turnaround, you're targeting around 200. Is that right? Is that what I'm seeing there?
We could have turned already. You see, the thing is, we've had an A wave down. The B wave, I put that as the kind of top potential that it's likely to move to. But we may have already completed, or we may have more to go. It's hard to say on the B wave. B waves are a corrective wave. They're very, very unpredictable. So I'd have to break it down into a shorter time frame to look whether we're finished. We may well have a bit more choppiness to go on the B wave. We may have completed. Normally, I'd expect it to go somewhere around the territory of this previous wave 4. That's why I've got it labeled up to here. And it also, there's now strong overhead resistance around that 200 level. So somewhere around this level. I mean, we're 191 now. 191 to 200 is, small in percentage terms for Solana. It can do that in a matter of minutes, let alone days and weeks. So I think we're there or thereabouts on the B wave, and I think we've got a C wave down to go. Now, this being an A wave down, beautiful 5 waves, very, very nice 5-wave move down. I think we'll get some kind of 3-wave move up in B, and then we get a further 5-wave move down in C. That will be a zigzag to make up the Y wave, and A, B, C zigzag to make up the Y wave. So the C wave should take us down probably, I'm guessing, maybe somewhere around 165. That's if we need to see where B finishes, and then we can measure this A wave in total, transpose it to the top of the B, and then we'll have a reasonable target for where C is going to go. So it's a bit premature to determine exactly where it's going to go to, but guesstimate is somewhere around the 165 level once we've finished this B wave higher. But because we do have what appears to be a clear 5 waves down, it does tell me that when this correction's over, we should have another 5-wave move down to complete the move. So again, looking at correlations across the board and jigsaw pieces, I'm always saying need to fit together. That tells me that Bitcoin also hasn't finished its move down. So, and we looked at that correlation with the Hang Seng. We're trying to fit as many assets together as possible. They might have slightly different wave counts, but that's telling me that we likely do have some more choppiness and lower to go. And that again fits with fitting all of the jigsaw pieces, both technical and fundamental. We've got Trump coming in on the 20th. I do think there's going to be a lot more euphoria and optimism around, positive talk about crypto, positive talk about hopefully the economy. Maybe some things, as you say, may have been said tongue in cheek, or maybe just his unusual way of negotiating, maybe an effective way of negotiating. I don't want to knock him. He's, let's just see it. Maybe just his form or his fashion of negotiating. And if it doesn't go play exactly according to what he said, maybe that would be seen as a positive in the markets. The other thing is, we've said over and over about this peace. He's pushing for peace in Russia, Ukraine, in the Middle East. And if we see that, we'll see a peace dividend. The peace dividend should be a major pump in the market. So I think this down move might happen before the 20th. I think once he comes in, we may, I'm not certain, but we may well get a massive pump in the markets based on optimism of what he might do internationally on the peace front, maybe even internally on economic front, who knows. But I think there's going to be a massive pump in the markets, possibly, and taking us to new all-time highs for Bitcoin, Solana, a lot of different assets, even the S&P. S&P is, again, good one to look at, very good one to look at. Appears to be in corrective mode at the moment. Now, what I think we've seen some kind of correction here. I'm not telling you exactly what the correction is, but you can see this small kind of triangle shaped consolidation here. I don't know if it is actually a triangle. I'd have to look on a shorter time frame to see if it fulfills all the rules. But what's interesting is, following the consolidation, we then got a sharp sell-off down. Now, just look at what we appear to have on a bigger scale here. It looks like a similar consolidation to this small one, but just on a larger scale. So I'm thinking, we have even within it, maybe it is a triangle, because here we've got an ABC for the A wave, we've got an ABC for the B wave, we've got an ABC for the C wave. We've had an A wave down looking like a B wave, then a C wave down to finish the D wave, and then we'll get maybe an E wave higher, then another push down. So again, it actually seems to fit. And it's just interesting the way we've got the small consolidation here, which results in a sell-off. Then we've got a large consolidation underway, which should also result in a sell-off. But then after that sell-off, it's basically going to be a larger, some kind of A, B, C down. And then we should again push to new all-time highs. So I do think that this euphoria and optimism, maybe the peace, the peace initiative or whatever it is, will come through and push us to new all-time highs. I'm just looking for reasons, because the charts are telling me that we're still got more correction to go, possibly until the 20th, there or thereabouts. But then I do think sometime this first quarter, most likely, we're going to see a really aggressive, nice push to new all-time highs, which should give us some great profit opportunities. So we, rather than just risk putting everything in and waiting for a low point, we should be dollar cost averaging. This is one of the strategies we've talked about, rather than try to gamble everything on one entry point. When we hit low points, you can basically just buy a little bit. And if it drops lower, you can buy more and more as it drops lower. But don't put all your eggs in one basket. Buy at different levels and buy dips, not peaks. So this actually fits very, very well, this movement down here. It fits really well with what we're seeing in Bitcoin and Solana, with a bit of a movement up now, and then we expect a further movement down before we push up again and a further down. So it's fitting together very nicely. I don't think we've really looked at dollar index. We'll just look at that briefly. Actually, I'm looking for clues everywhere, and I haven't really focused much on dollar index here because we don't have much in the way of clear indications right now. We previously had some regular bearish divergence. That's where we had higher highs on price and lower highs on corresponding RSI. So that told us there's going to be a sell-off here in dollar index, precisely what happened. So our prediction was spot on, perfect. We also got a crossover, which told us more downside to come, which is what happened. Now we've had a crossover to the upside on the moving averages, telling us of upside. That's what's happened. There's no crosses at the moment. We can also look at another indicator. I won't put it on today, but something called moving average convergence divergence. And it actually measures the gap between these moving averages and just places it as basically the convergence or the difference between them. So at the moment we have a big divergence, but potentially beginning to cross back the other way. So there's potentially a signal that dollar index may be close to a current local top, but that's just one of the indicators. But we don't have any divergence at the moment. So you'll see here, we have lower highs on price, but we also have lower highs on RSI. So there is no divergence in place. So there isn't a divergence indication of a turn. There isn't even a moving average crossover indication, but there may be on another indicator that we won't focus on today, but MACD may be telling us we're about to turn lower. So you can never rely totally on one indicator. You look at different indicators that tell you different things and try to fit them together to get the best analysis and the best conclusion. Also, we've seen here, Ethereum is actually very like Bitcoin chart. So you can see here, we actually dropped lower than this previous, actually, no, we haven't. We still haven't reached this previous low here. So this one is actually telling me this was the impulsive direction from this point here, downwards. We've got corrective because it's choppy sideways movement upwards, and then we're moving impulsively down again. The impulsive direction is still down, the corrective direction is higher. We haven't crossed this level down here. So I do expect that this movement up is probably just corrective in this corrective direction, and we've still got more movement down in the impulsive direction to take us lower. So it's not quite the same as Bitcoin. It's actually probably telling us a bit more information about the likely direction is still likely going to be further down before we turn up. But once this correction down is complete, and it could be a large A, B, C correction down, we should then push up. And I think we will challenge, when we get this optimism come through later this quarter, I think we will challenge, possibly even make new all-time highs. The previous all-time high was for Ethereum was 4,800. So quite some way to go, but there's real potential there. We've actually got some way down probably still to go first. We may not even break all-time highs because Ethereum has lost some of its dominance. Obviously,
some of its luster, some of its dominance. I mean, there's a lot out there now, you know?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of competitors out there. Everything used to be built on Ethereum. It's not now. There's a lot of other tokens. There's lots of other networks. I know you talked about Algorand. There's so many others out there. Solana, obviously the meme coin token. It's not a meme itself, but I mean, all the memes are built on Solana, which is why Solana's been so popular. And there's lots of other really, really good. I mean, Hedera Hashgraph is a great, great token that we talked about before. It's one of my favorites. I've been following it for years. So there's lots of tokens out there, and there's new ones coming through. There's one called PowerChain that isn't even out yet, but I know quite a bit about the development of it. It looks exciting. Might be one we'll talk about more in the future, but there's lots of
what is that now?
There. So all I'm saying really is that Ethereum is losing its dominance and probably doesn't have the potential that it once had to even surpass its all-time high. We're a long way from it, and if we drop lower, we're even further away from it. 4,800. Bitcoin is within touching distance still. You know, it's very, very close to, you know, just a few percentage points away from all-time high. But Ethereum's a long, long way. You know, we're 30% or more probably. Well, I think we're nearly 50% from its all-time high. So Ethereum's a long, long way away. So I don't think Ethereum has got the potential. I'd be looking at other assets personally that have more potential. Even if I'm building a hodler's portfolio, I don't think Ethereum would be there. And the ETF hasn't really lived up to expectations, has it?
It really hasn't. I will, every time we talk about it, I will say that the institutional guys that I know around this area they bought and they are buying a lot of it. So don't count it out, because they are the one. They do have an ETF. Some of these other ones don't. And yes, it's like it hasn't performed as it should. But I do know that they are they're buying it. And when I say like what we're talking about, they give me the bombastic side eye. They kind of look at me like, because I know what I'm talking about, but do I know what I'm talking about, or do that? You know what I mean? But they're betting big on it.
Okay. I mean, they're betting big, but it's not showing up in the prices. So
I agree.
They really betting
they
big?
also have a deflationary model now, so it should be showing up in the price. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that it's a deflationary model now, so I haven't checked. I need to check on the numbers. Actually, I'll have a look into that. I mean, I have read it myself that it is. I mean, Bitcoin isn't actually deflationary. Bitcoin is actually still an inflationary model, but only mildly inflationary. And when you take into account the tokens that are lost, etc., it's probably deflationary anyway. But the numbers are much, much, much less than Ethereum when you look at it. But anyway, as I say, I'm not quite so optimistic. I think there's lots of other opportunities out there. And I think actually XRP is still one of them. We look to be in some kind of corrective mode. I think probably that correction is not complete yet, but I think XRP will probably challenge its previous all-time high. I'm not quite as optimistic as some, talking about how high it could potentially go, but I do think it will most likely at some point challenge its previous all-time high. That previous all-time high was somewhere around 330, so it's 40% higher than where we are now. I think it will probably potentially challenge it. May exceed it, but it's one of those tokens which, when it goes, and it will probably hang about for quite some time, I do think there's real potential for it to go lower, because you can see here we've had some kind of three-wave down. It looks like a three-wave down, three-wave up, some kind of correction anyway. 3 waves down, it's just sideways, and again we've got lower lows and lower highs, so I think we've got probably another lower low to come. There's actually not so much in terms of lower lows. We've actually been having higher lows here. So just to be fair and to be honest, we've got lower highs and we've got higher lows. So it's a bit contradictory. Just looking very, very typical of a consolidation. So we may not even dip that much lower. It could be some kind of triangle move, A, B, C, D, E. That would tell us that we've probably got more downside to come. An E wave can overshoot or it can undershoot. But if that were to be the case, then we've still got a terminal thrust from this consolidation higher. And as I say, that terminal thrust would probably challenge the previous all-time high at 330. So if we see XRP dipping down, as I believe it probably will, it might be one of my favorite assets to go for a long position. It really could be, because I do think this looks like, if I draw some trend lines on there, it's interesting. There's just on the fly, as it were, just looking at a potential triangle in place. And as you know, triangles are my favorite pattern, most predictive pattern. This is interesting. I mean, looks like a triangle. So you got the flagpole here. It's a kind of, basically, then you got a triangle, which is a consolidation pattern. Consolidation is basically just consolidating before it breaks out in a terminal wave to the upside. Now, the upside terminal wave should go well beyond the high here. So if this is an A, a B, a C, a D, and we've still got E to go to complete, again, it fits in with all the other analysis that we've done today. With every asset we looked at, we're expecting more downside before a powerful push to the upside. That's what this would tell you. So as I say, ABC down for an A wave, ABC up for a B wave, ABC down for a C wave, ABC up for a D wave, then A, B, and we're expecting a C wave down. E wave doesn't have to complete on the trend line, but it should be close to it. Round about this trend line, it can overshoot. Unlike the others, it can overshoot and it can undershoot, but not by much. So anywhere around these levels, I'll be looking at DCA. This will be one of my favorite assets. It may come off the back of a lot of positive crypto legislation coming through with Trump coming into power. This looks exciting to me. So I'd be interested in XRP around these levels, waiting for further sell-off.
What levels is that again? Just to around what levels?
Well, around the 206 level, somewhere around 206 is really, really interesting.
That $2, that level right there, that has been an interesting level indeed.
I mean, it's on a trend line. It's on a support line here of this triangle. If this is a triangle, which it really does look like a big scale triangle, then it's pre-terminal. Then the final move up should be a terminal wave. So again, it fits with our macro analysis that we're going to get a mega push to the upside, take us probably to at least 330, previous challenge of the previous all-time high. So from 2 to 330, we're looking at more than 50% upside. It looks really, really exciting. That should be aggressive and should happen quickly when the time comes. My favorite sort of structure, wave structure pattern that there is to trade. And if we can catch that nicely, the upside should be tremendous. And it should be across the board, across all sorts of cryptos. XRP might not be the best, but I just love this chart pattern it's showing up here. So I think we'll just keep following this one, consistently follow it over the next couple of weeks, and maybe help people to, if they're interested. Obviously, it's at their own risk. We're not saying definitely do it, but our analysis has been pretty good, and might be worth a punt with money that you can afford if it weren't to go according to expectation. But I think this is a major potential opportunity in the making. I absolutely love it. I think it's looking amazing. So yeah, let's just keep on that one, Bruce, and we'll follow the others as well.
Yep.
But this is telling me where we are in the market. And I'm always scanning through the different assets to look for clues. And that's why we jumped over to the Hang Seng before. That was telling us probably more low. But again, this looks like impulsive to the upside. We can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves to the upside. That's impulsive. Then downwards, it's just a downward correction. We've probably got lower to go before we push to new all-time highs. So even the Hang Seng, after the correction's complete, is going to push most likely to new all-time highs. So we're going to see major optimism across the board in both cryptos and traditional assets. And that will also take the S&P here, which is in corrective mode. We've got A, B. We're going to be working on a C wave down, whether it's here or whether it's up here, who knows? Might not be that deep. It could be here. But basically, we've still got more sideways downward movement to come, but then we're going to push to new all-time highs on the S&P. So everything is fitting together. So I would say just be very, very careful. Don't jump on too early, but I think it's actually setting up beautifully for us. So we'll keep a close eye on that, Bruce, and that's a great place to finish for today. Some really good opportunity looking forward. So thanks for having me again. Have a great weekend. I think we're already on Friday, aren't we?
We are. Have a great weekend.
Wonderful. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Look forward to catching up on Monday.
Thank you very much, Matt. Always a pleasure, brother.
Cheers.
So next week, we're also, at one point, we're going to have my friend Gordon Einstein join the show. Gordon Einstein and I went back and forth a little bit today. I was going to have him on Thursday. And of course, I was playing dad, as I sometimes do. Actually, I play dad all the time with my 14-year-old at the ice rink. Sometimes, every once in a while, we do early morning skate. And as long as my 14-year-old is willing to skate with her dear old dad, of course, in the former life, I was an ice dancer, I am going to do it. So that's how I feel. That's how I feel about that. Cheers, Matt Dixon. Yes, from our friend Johnny Noteworthy here. Let me update these prices as we finish up here. Boom. There you go. Updated prices that we have right there. We have just popped above 95,000. In between even me pasting that right there. Bitcoin 95,000. Let me pop that update there. Nice movement, really, from yesterday to today. Sometimes I am a little bit more risk aggressive than my good friend and colleague Matt Dixon. I did enter in some long positions. I couldn't help myself on that dip yesterday, and those have turned out pretty well. But I am keeping a very close eye on them because I think the potential for a pullback and a better entry price with my profits is probably in store. So I'm keeping a close eye on it. But I did catch that bounce. which was pretty fun. So we have an exciting time ahead of us. Of course, we are working very hard. My friend Avelio Medina and I were working very hard on this DC inaugural week. It is an amazing week that we have going up. There's really just a lot going on. It's not just our event. Of course, our event is shaping up to be the most important crypto event of the time, and this is the first crypto president. So the timing is pretty unbelievable for us. I have to really hats off to my friend. Elvelio Medina for having the foresight to put that together. Over a year ago, he started putting that together. So brought me on board. Of course, I got a Rolodex like people dream about, right? I can just call people all day, and for days, just call people all day, and I never get to the end of them. I've been running around the world, talking to people, interviewing people, talking about the monetary revolution for over a decade now. That's awesome, John. Johnny says, my wife isn't even up yet. You're the first person I chat with almost every morning. I love it. That's awesome, man. My wife's not up yet either. And actually, it's funny. The kids get up now. Yeah. Hi there. LOL. So the kids get up and they're old enough trying to feed themselves. And then I come down. I do the show. One of the reasons why I do the show this early, my dad asked me, why do you do the show that early? I said, well, because when I started doing the show, I said, okay, you guys want to put me on TV, that's fine. But I got a lot of other stuff that I'm doing, like the event that we're doing for the inauguration and stuff like that. I do a lot of stuff. I'm going to Hong Kong next month for Consensus. Super excited about that. So I need to make sure that I can do everything that I normally do. I got to do all the stuff that I'm doing with the kids and everything else. So I'll do the show at 6 a.m. And that way I can do an hour show or abouts and still get on with my day. And they agreed, and here we are. And it actually has turned out to be a pretty awesome time, because being as we are such an international, crypto is international, right? It's borderless. It's all these things. And we're not just crypto, but the financial markets are always moving. And what is happening in Hong Kong is important. What's happening in the Middle East is important. And what's happening in, all these other places, Latin America, everything else. And so 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is actually a pretty good time. You're about 11 a.m. or 12, depending on what the time schedule is, daylight savings or whatever. 2, 3 p.m., early afternoon in the Middle East. And it works out. So we get the pulse on the market early and put it out there. You can always catch us as well on my X account, which is Networks Manager. I'm very easy to reach out to. If you want more information as well about the DC Inaugural Week, let me know. Let me put that banner right there. DCinaugural.com. Make sure to check that out, guys. It will be in a historic event. Unbelievable. You're going to want to come. I mean, it's just one of those things. I was at the first Trump inauguration. I was that guy, if you were around. I said, lock her up. Talk about reading the room wrong. I mean, it was like dead silence. Everyone's like, Bruce, we're not locking her up anymore. But we're not locking her up. What? But they were right. We weren't locking her up. Anyway, yeah. So it was fun, though. It was really fun. It's usually cold. Make sure to bring your warm stuff. It's usually cold. It's usually bright. I had friends. I was in Europe for Obama's inaugurations, but it was cold then too. I had friends that were there. It's just normally cold, but it's a lot of fun. Very historic moment. The first president since Grover Cleveland to have won, lost again, and then won again. And he really is something else. Of course, he has been shot at. He's been, yeah. I mean, we all really thought he was going to do it, didn't we? Yeah, he didn't do it. I tend to say that we're probably not going to lock anybody up this time either. I have gotten in my older age to realize that that's kind of how it works around here. People don't get really locked up around here. You got to really do something bad. You got to cross the wrong people to get locked up around here. Otherwise, it's it's the, I don't know if the good old boys network is the way to say it. That doesn't really sound right, but we're all in it together. You saw Trump with Obama yesterday. They're sitting there joking around. Now there's some lip readers that say, oh, it was this, or oh, he said that. I don't know if he did or not. I have no idea. You know what I mean? People love to speculate about that stuff. I have no idea. In general, I think that Trump, I can understand. I think he generally kind of likes people. That's why he's able to get along with the construction workers, and that's why he's able to get along with the international people and the diplomats and the tyrants and everything, right? I mean, I ran a video on my X about him in the going into North Korea, meeting with Kim Jong-un. I think he generally likes people, and I can understand that because I'm the same way. I generally like people, but yeah. It's funny. It's funny. It's a funny place. I'm going to finish with our advertisement for 2Bit, and then I am out of here. But this is 2Bit. Make sure, guys, if you want part of the monetary revolution, easy to sign up. Open for Americans right here.
Hey, Randy, I got another home run for us, man. This 2Bit exchange is absolutely amazing.
Hey, Bruce, what's up, man? Yeah, why don't you tell me about that 2Bit exchange?
Yeah, that's right. And we're going to be able to list our coins that we want, that we support, and they're going to be on this amazing derivatives platform. It's absolutely awesome.
Derivatives? I love derivatives. I can't wait to be on the trade copy program.
So what I want you to do is set up an account and then send me your UID, and let's set you up with a trade copy system, and you just let it run. Copy our trades. That's it. Easy peasy.
So you want me to open an account, send you my user ID, and you hook me up with the trade copy system. I can't wait. Sounds spectacular.
Hey, Matt. Hey, listen, I met with the guys at 2Bit Exchange while I was in Dubai, and this platform really looks amazing.
Yeah, hi Bruce. Yeah, thank you again for that heads up. I mean, I've looked into this 2Bit platform. It does appear to have everything we're looking for.
Yeah, that's right. 2Bit, Toobit. They have great liquidity. They have futures platform. There's a lot of functionality that I think you're going to like on there. And they really want to work with us. They want to work with the Impact Money Show. And as you and I both know, if they have a good product and they want to work with us, well, hey, that's half the battle.
I mean, basically, I love that copy trade facility. I love the features on the platform. It's basically very simple to use.
Our viewers only need to set it up to copy our trades, and they just do all the trades that we do. Makes it really easy for people to participate. I think they're going to love it. I'm pretty excited about it.
And yeah, it's definitely going to benefit people. I mean, obviously with all the years of experience that we can pack into it, and people can basically benefit from that. Yeah, I definitely think it's a goer.
Hey, David. Yeah, man, I'm excited about it too. I mean, when you think of the ways that we can help our viewers earn money and be able to participate in the monetary revolution, this 2Bit platform just opens up all kinds of doors that they don't have right now.
Hey, Bruce, I'm checking out this platform. It's revolutionary.
That's absolutely correct. And the futures platform is amazing. Great liquidity. And the copy trader program, people are going to be able to make the trades exactly when we make them and make the money that we make. It's a win-win for everybody.
Open for U.S. customers, and you can deposit money with a credit or debit card. Doesn't get better than this.
Beautiful. And what do you think we should use as a referral code?
I think we should use Impact Money. That's the one. Impact Money.
Your voice is powerful. When combined with social engagement, it's a force for change. Decentralized media paired with free speech is the catalyst for an empowered world and a unified, invaluable ecosystem. Join Global Boost, become a champion of free speech, and help to reshape the future of media.